It was at this very place, the public market in Gibsons, BC, 7 years ago that Charlene Sanjenko was gifted this paddle featuring Indigenous designs at a fundraising event.
I felt this amazing wave of emotion come over me. And that was actually the night that I decided I needed to prove what I think I intuitively knew.
Sanjenko says she always knew she was different. She grew up with adoptive, non-Indigenous parents who decided not to tell her she's First Nations.
I think there's a feeling when you never get a chance to meet a parent.
It would be 50 years before she would seek out that truth herself.
It was all through paperwork. I found my adoption certificate, my birth mom's name. It said her age, which was 16, and it said, it just said Indian below that. It was a process that took over 3 years.
She's among more than 150 children taken from Splatsin between about 1960 and 1980 during the Sixties Scoop. That was a significant portion of the population of her home nation, leaving behind just 300 people in the community. It sparked a movement called the Indian Child Caravan, led by a man also taken as a child from that same community.
At that point in my life, I was 13 years old. I honestly thought about taking my life. So in that process, I just lost all hope.
His name is Wayne Christian. He's a former 7-term chief who, through cultural healing practices, moved past the trauma and has now spent most of his adult years advocating for Indigenous children.
And that was a big push for taking control of our own child welfare and enacting our own legislation. The only one in Canada to this point that does what we're doing.
Seeing his work, Charlene got in contact with him last year, and now the two are working together to help others reconnect with their communities by hosting a healing event back here in Gibsons called For the Children. They're launching an initiative this fall called Our Nation Heals.
Because that's how you change the world, is through the children.
A full circle moment for two survivors sent on very different paths, now coming together in order to help others come home. Neetu Garcha, Global News, Gibsons, BC.